Hey everyone, it's Vladimir here, and in this video I would like to talk about Agile. What is Agile in the scope of IT project management? Let's find out. Now, to explain Agile to the best of my ability, I would ask you to think about an IT project for a moment. Generally, we can choose one of the two main approaches to management in development. The first one is predictive, and the second one is adaptive. Let's take a close look at the predictive approach. You can also call it plan-focused or plan-driven approach. What usually happens is we create a big plan at the very beginning of the project, and then we try to follow it as best as we can. The project has several phases. For example, analyze, design, code, integrate, test, and maintain. This is one big iteration, and please remember this word because I will come back to it later. Very often, these phases could last for a few months each. This approach is still used and it is still effective for certain types of projects, when the work, for example, is predictable. We do not have to do a lot of changes. We just follow the plan. For example, you're building a house. You know the exact steps. You've done it many times, right? There isn't uncertainty, and so on. But what is the problem here if we apply this approach to an IT project? In fact, it's more than just one problem. There are many problems, but I want to focus on two big ones. First, even though we have a well-written, detailed plan, chances are we won't be able to build what the customer expects. This is not because we are not going to follow the plan, but because the customer is not completely aware of what they want exactly. They need to see the product first, and after that they would come up with ideas, they would come up with more features and so on. And this is a general observation in the IT space, but I have been working in an agile company for more than 5 years, and my experience confirms it. Second, we might be developing the project for several months or maybe years without receiving feedback from the end users. This is bad. There is a study that shows that 45% of the features we built in a software product are never used. Can you imagine the waste we're talking about here? Now let's talk about the second approach, where we have an adaptive life cycle of the project. First, we do not follow a detailed plan. No. We get the customer requirements and we build a very small product, we show it to the customer, and then the customer gives us feedback. We collect that feedback, and based on it, we create a second version of the same product. We are adding a little more. We ask the customer again to review it and provide more feedback. We collect it, and we built a third version of the product. The good news is that even the very first version of the software product can be used by the end users. So we have the opportunity to collect feedback from them as well. You can see there is a loop going on here, a feedback loop. I've said a small product, but there is a term that we use. It's called an increment. Now, the question, how long does it take to create an increment? Well, that would depend on the Agile method or framework. For example, in Scrum, which is an Agile framework, the maximum duration of a sprint is 1 month. Very often, that period is 2 weeks. So we have a 2-week sprint. So what we are doing here is that we're building the software product incrementally. This allows us to build with very little to no deviation what the customer expects, because Agile relies on feedback. This is why we call it an adaptive approach. This is the core of Agile. This is Agile. And if you ask me, Vladimir, explain to me what Agile is with just one word, I would say adaptation, which, by the way, is one of the 3 pillars of Scrum that upholds Scrum. The other 2 are transparency and inspection. And as I've said, Scrum is an Agile framework. I've created, by the way, a 20-minute video explaining it. If you are interested, a link will appear on top of the video, on top of the screen. And now, if you read the Agile Manifesto, individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over conflict negotiation, responding to change over following a plan. You can see how the sentences on the right relate to the plan-focused approach, which by the way is mostly known as waterfall. Besides incremental development, as I've said, we are adding a little more to the product every time, one increment at a time. Agile also uses iterative development. Do you remember how I told you at the beginning of the video that the life cycle of the plan-focused approach is one big iteration? This refers to the development processes. Analyze, design code, integrate, and so on. In the Agile frameworks and methods that use the time boxing concept, that use sprints, we go through all these phases in one iteration. In one sprint, for example, a 2-week sprint, or 3-week, or 4 weeks, it doesn't matter. Why is that? Because we want to create a releasable increment. Remember, based on that increment, we received feedback. So the increment must be 100% done. It must be usable. As you can see, Agile is more than just mindset or just doing daily stand-ups or being flexible and so on. Now, Agile needs systems, frameworks, or methodologies that support the Agile principles. And this is why we have Scrum. We have extreme programming. We have DSDM, Dynamic Systems Development Method. We have Kanban and more. Now, if you want to master the most popular Agile framework, Scrum, or you're preparing for the professional Scrum Master Level 1 exam, be sure to check out my online course called Scrum Master Certification Training and PSM1 Simple Exams. There you will find 3 hours and a half of video content plus 160 high-quality simple exam questions. Go ahead to the first link in the description to learn more. If you have found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a video helping you master the Scrum Framework. Thank you for watching. My name is Vladimir Raykov and I'll see you in the next one.